Hi, Miss Cennet.
Hello.
Thanks for accepting our invitation.
You're very welcome.
We've got a couple of questions to ask you. The first question is, what have our counsellors been up to during this term? How do they continue to support students?
Okay. Well, it's been a long term actually, considering that we're only week 7, week 8. Counsellors have been working hard across all campuses. What we've done was, similar to our previous lockdown, we moved everything online. What we've been doing, obviously we've had ongoing students from last year, we've had some new referrals this year, and we've continued to see them online. So just like they would in a classroom, we've been having Zoom sessions. Only this time round, first time lockdown, everything was great, students were happy to be on Zoom. This time round, I think the students have had enough with Zoom, so they prefer not to be on Zoom. So what we've done is, as the counselling department, we've said we are open to whatever our students need. So whether that be speaking over the phone, whether that be just texting, whether that be sector messaging, whether that just be audio via Zoom, pretty much meeting their needs. So we've also been looking out for red flags. So any student that's been missing classes consecutive days, consecutive classes, or any teachers who have concerns of students, we've been contacting these students saying, hey, we've realised, you've been missing some classes. Is everything okay? We've also sent out messages sector via sector, again, to students done from 7 all the way to year 10, 7 to all the way through to year 12, to say counselling services are up and running. If you do need, please do reach out. We are here for you to support you.
How do they reach out to you?
So what they'll do is some students will reach out through email. Some will do sector messages. So they'll just message, say, hey miss, I've been really struggling. I've been really demotivated, which has been a popular reason to contact a counsellor this term. Or even if they don't do it directly, I've had a few students, for example, who have reached out to me. They'll say, hey miss, so-and-so is feeling really down, they're feeling a bit off, can you please check in on them? And what I do is, through sector again, it's first point of contact is sector, obviously, to say, hey, I've heard that, you're feeling a bit down. Is everything okay? Just want to check in with you to see how you're doing.
So they don't need actually referrals?
Not really. Some will come through teachers, so those kids who are really quiet maybe during classes, some who are missing. So we've had a few parents call up the school to say, hey, my son's feeling a bit down. Can I have one of the counsellors just check in on them and see how they're doing? So multiple, I guess, but we've had a lot of self-referrals. Students may not know that if you are above the age of 16, you can do a self-referral, so you do not need parental consent for this. You don't need a referral for it too. You can just contact your counsellor and just ask for the help you need. And we've made it very clear to our students at our particular campus to say it doesn't necessarily have to be ongoing counselling on a weekly basis. It can just be that one session where you just really need to offload and you just need to vent. And we've said we're open to that too. If it's just, I'm just really sick of it, I'm really over it, we've listened to it, and students have said, miss, I'm feeling so much better, thank you for listening, and that's been it. So that's what we've been doing this term. Another thing that we've done is we've contacted parents. It's funny because as a school, obviously, we're thinking about our students, but our poor parents are stuck at home as well with the whole family. So we've been calling parents to see how they're doing and how they're coping, whether they had any concerns as well. So a lot of the parents we've spoken to us, they say, how are you doing? And it's been, me? Oh, thank you so much for asking. So that's been really nice. That's pretty much what we've been doing as counsellors, just contacting students, waiting for them to contact us. So we've been keeping busy with that.
How about teachers? They're struggling as well.
Teachers, yes, teachers. So here's the thing. So we're classified as student support team department. But in the meantime, what we've done at our campus is we've opened up pretty much like a mini hotline to say, if you want a counsellor to check in with you, email your name and someone will be in touch. But most of our staff or most of our counsellors have an amazing relationship with our staff. So it's been more of rather than an official check-in, it's been more of a friendly approach. Say, hey, haven't heard from you for a while, how are you doing? And our teachers are amazing too. They reach out as well when they need it. So I think we've had, throughout this whole year, throughout this whole pandemic, we've had an amazing teamwork. But yeah, so main focus is students as counsellors.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any key element to maintaining morale and motivation during lockdown?
So this question, I believe, was asked when I first did the serious talk, something very similar. And I remember saying that motivation is something really hard to have all the time. Not just throughout this whole pandemic thing, but even prior to this. After this, motivation is almost like a state that you have to find at all times, and that's a lot of pressure. So what I've said is, rather than finding motivation, it's more consistency. So it's routine, it's trying to keep your normal life as it would be, as if there was no COVID-19. So waking up, doing your bed, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, putting on, your uniform, separating as I would say to us, to staff members, your work life and your home life. Same thing for students. So separate your school life and home life.
Probably most of the students, they wake up around 8:55.
Yes, most likely they do. And most of them I've spoken to have said that.
So they need to change that attitude.
Definitely do. And one thing I had said to students was when I speak to my students, even in counselling too, have you left your room today? It's generally, oh yeah, just for a snack, for lunch, just to use the bathroom, and that's about it. So I'm not a mathematician, so don't quote me on this, but we've got 24 hours in a day. You wake up, let's just say, and most of the students, unfortunately, that I've spoken to have said they sleep very late. So at 12, 1, 2, some saying that they only get 4 hours of sleep. So let's just say these kids wake up at 8, 9, and they're in their room until about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm guessing that's about 8 hours, 9 hours almost. So they've already been in their room for that long with only a short amount of breaks. So they're leaving only for a few minutes and then coming back. And then what they do is they switch off, end of day, they go out for dinner. If they do physical activity, we don't know. We hope that they get some physical activity, but if they don't, they're in the house. So they go back into their room for homework. That's another 3, 4, 5 hours. And then they go to sleep in their room. So almost in a span of 24 hours, they're spending 20 hours in their bedroom. That is a really long amount of time. So I keep saying to the kids, you've got your homework, do it elsewhere. So like if you're studying, if your study room is in your bedroom, do that, and then move out of your bedroom to study elsewhere, whether that be on the dining table, the study room, the garden. The weather's now much better than what it was. So in the backyard, getting some fresh air, some vitamin D, sunlight. So just to get out of that space of, I've been in my bedroom the whole day, and it's not just one day, it's 5 days a week. And most likely teenagers spend most of their time in their bedroom on the weekends too. So we want to break that cycle. We want to move out of our rooms. We want to get out of that. So we find some motivation going back into the room. So we're going back into school, to classes, rather than being in school the whole day at home. So yeah, that was one advice. So just consistency rather than motivation, consistency. And just in terms of motivation too, it's, nothing lasts forever. Everything is going to come to an end. This is going to come to an end. There's this talk a lot about this is the new normal. And I keep saying to our students, this is not the new normal. We had a normal life, and this is the abnormal. This is out of the normal. And it's okay to feel down sometimes. It's okay to feel frustrated, upset, hopeless, like things aren't going to go back to normal. But know that nothing lasts forever, and this is going to come to an end. So chat with your friends, chat with your teachers. Teachers are happy to speak. Stay back and speak for a few minutes as well. Counsellors are there. Your teachers are there. I know that the pastoral care department's working really hard as well to, to keep this social kind of interaction too. I know they're doing game nights. I know there's a lot of Monopoly. There's a lot of Scribble going on, a lot of Woof being played. Do join them, participate in these sorts of activities, and keep your social interactions going. Have tea time or coffee time with your friends over Zoom or FaceTime or Snapchat, whatever you use, TikTok, whatever it might be. That could be, just to be in the same idea with your friends, same circle, You know, everyone's going through the same thing at different rates, different severity, but it's going to end. Just know that. So that's, I guess, in terms of motivation, I think that's the best advice that I could possibly give.
All right, third question. What are some long-term struggles we might face, adults and students, in the COVID normal life post the lockdown?
So that's a really a hard one.
Like you said, so this is not normal, so everything is going to be back normal. But I see that, yes, maybe not everything is going to be back normal.
We'll have some slight changes, of course. Some things maybe might not go back to normal. But I think humans are amazing at adapting. When we speak about it, we might think that, or when we're going through something, we think, I'm never going to be able to get used to this. And that's in our day-to-day relationships too, or day-to-day events as well. Something happens and you say, how am I going to get used to this? And over time, you adapt to it and you think, oh my God, I can't believe I went through that. And I believe, and I strongly believe, that something very similar is going to happen to all of us too. We're going to get out of this and look back and say, oh my God, we did history. We made history. We went through a pandemic and it's all in the past now. Some things will change. I always say it's been, especially for the VCE students, it's been a great opportunity for them to understand university life, because universities have been doing this for years, online learning, lectures and tutorials. This is something that they will do. I think it's important to know that, to think, and I know a lot of people will argue this, but to be positive as much as you possibly can. Even if nothing good's going to come out of it, remember that event as a positive, in a good way at least, rather than I was upset, I was angry all the time, I was glum, because it's, as we said just before as well, it's going to pass. It's what you've made of it. It's how you where your headspace is at. So going into the future, obviously things are going to look a bit different. Obviously now we've learned that we can do a lot of things online. I'm hoping it won't stay entirely that way, because, you know, we're humans and we yearn human interaction and social interaction. Some things, yes, will stay different, but I think we will adapt because it's just in our nature to adapt. So I wouldn't be too caught up in how things are going to be as well. And this is another thing about humans too. We worry so much about the future, and this is somewhat coming to anxiety. What causes anxiety too? We picture scenarios that haven't even happened yet. Someone asked me, they said, how are you doing with the kids and work and whatnot? I said, you know what? I'm taking it literally hour by hour, not even day by day, hour by hour, just making it through the hour and then the next and then the next. Not even thinking about end of the day, not thinking about the next day or the next week, just taking it day by day, because if there's one thing COVID has taught us, it's the future is unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, even if there are going to be like some long-term struggles, we don't know them yet.
We don't know them.
So we can deal with them when we face them, but we shouldn't be thinking about them right now.
Exactly.
What I understand.
Exactly. And then worrying about the future, Mr. Erskine, is almost like, it almost steals away from right now. You're so preoccupied about thinking of how or what's going to happen that you're not present right now. We've been, I say, you know, if they asked us early in the year that we're all going to be locked down, shops were going to close, no more Chadstone, no more High Point, and I know for a lot of our teenagers, Friday night is, you know, shopping centre night, we would have said, as if, no way, what would we do? You know, no more cinemas, none of that. None of us would have believed it. To think now, you know, we've done how many weeks of it now? Almost 8-9 weeks of it. We can actually do it. Going back to the whole, we can adapt, we can do it. So yes, I suggest not to worry too much about the future. Let's live in the moment. Let's see what happens. Let's get through the day and worry about the next day when the time comes. But definitely will look slightly different, but we're humans, we're made to adapt. So not too much to worry there, I'd say.
And the last question. It feels like we have missed a whole year. There's a gap in our minds and hearts, a space which should otherwise be filled with fond memories with friends and family. Any advice for those of us who feel like they've missed many opportunities throughout this year, especially for our graduating students who have had a very limited time with their friends and teachers in their last year of school?
Oh God, the first thing that comes to my mind, again, this is something that I've said to a friend. I said, It's interesting now that we're all stuck at home, now that we're all doing a lot of family time especially. We're stuck with our families, which is a good thing, and maybe a bit of a bad thing for our teenagers. But we're doing dinner time with our family, we're doing breakfast with our family, we're watching movies with our family. We're doing homework and we're doing classwork, and our parents are walking in, making sure that we're doing that. For me personally, it's been a lot of the days that I don't work. I've been outdoors with my 2 little ones and my 3 chooks. So I've got chooks. So we've been spending a lot of time in the backyard. It's funny because, and I've been posting these on Instagram in my stories, a lot of people have been saying, oh, you know, it's the little things that count. And I've been thinking, contemplating so much on this for the past, I don't know, 6 months maybe. It's funny how we're in a society where we've made to believe these little things that are actually huge things in our life are made to believe to be little. So spending time with our family, just watching a movie, an hour and a half, is something supposedly little, but it's such a huge, huge, huge blessing that we have. We have a family to watch a movie with in the comfort of our homes. We have electricity, we get to watch TV, eat our popcorn. You know, for me, it's to sit outside in the backyard with 2 of my children happily in the sun. I have a home. I'm doing this with my kids. They have mummy at home. I have them at home. It's actually not little. This is such a huge blessing. It's ridiculous. But we've been made to believe that these really, really big things are actually little, but they're huge. So did we really miss anything this year? Did we plan things in the year? If we did, these major things, trips, excursions. I know some of our students were really upset that they couldn't go on their excursions. You know, they get to miss out on class. Some of those.
Especially physics students.
We've got some legal students too who are looking so forward to going to the court. They missed out on that opportunity. Or whether that be, you know, you had plans with your friends or family plans on the weekends, catching up with friends, whatever it might be. I think another thing COVID has taught us is perspective. It's very important where you place your perspective and where your perspective is. So did you really miss out on a lot of things? Yes, they missed out on a lot of one-on-one time with their teachers physically, but they still had their teachers on Zoom. They still got to contact each other if they did stay in touch with their friends. Yes, it's not the same as being on site. They did miss out on that, and there's no lies. And this is one thing where acceptance is really important. It's one of the hardest things to do when something happens, but it's one of the most important steps to accept. Yes, we've missed out on a lot, but at the same time, we didn't have much plans for this year too. We just assumed that it would be the same as last year, but it wasn't. We're still in the comfort of our own homes. We're still working or studying from our bedrooms. We still have contact with our teachers. If anything, for VC students, it's somewhat worked in their favour. As I said, a bit of taste of university life, 1. 2, you know, Dan Andrews has announced that it's not going to be solely based on your ATAR score. He said throughout the whole year, we're going to speak to your teachers. You know, we've got a survey of who's been at disadvantage, your internet connection, you know, your family life, were you able to study at home, all of your assessments throughout the year. So rather than looking at your ATAR score and determining your future, it's now your performance throughout the year. So somewhat they're at an advantage to some degree. And as I said, time doesn't end here. As long as we're living, they'll have tomorrow and the day after. And once they get into uni, it's not the end of it. They still have their friendships. They will still be together. Yes, they've missed out on, you know, this year, but have they really missed out on this year? Or to what extent have they missed out on this year? If anything, they've had more alone time with themselves, so no friends to distract them, no classmates to distract them. I know a lot of my students have said, I appreciate being at home because I don't have any, you know, kids asking questions and distracting me. That's a bonus, I guess. Obviously, in such cases, or when something or calamity happens, and I always say, rather than to ignore the feelings, accept it. This happened, we're all upset, we're frustrated. The unknown is scary, but it is what it is. Perspective, I think, is really, really important. And I'm sure that they can make up for this next year with their friends. And I know that coming students will know what it feels like, so they'll make the most of it the year after. I think there's a lot that we can take away from this year. So have we really missed out? Maybe some things, but we've gained a lot as well in some ways. So that's what I think.
Thank you very much.
Very
for
welcome.
Your answers. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation again.
Happy to do